Coming up on Talk is Cheap, is the Grand Canyon holding secrets of giants and maybe even some more sinister plots? We're going to discuss that and a little bit more next. Where cheap is talking, talk is cheap. I'm Dusty Long, and with me, as always,
Dan Hohlfeld
and
TC Christman.
Today is our new setup. We're only doing 20-minute episodes, so bear with me when I speed read the hell out of all these. So anyway, yeah, Jason
Barker.
Here, I want to thank you very much. You gave us another idea for a topic, and one that I actually read about a little bit.
Dusty get to do all the ones that people comment on.
Well, you know, I need a little
make
homework.
the job a little easier for other people. They go like, oh, I don't even have to think of something. I can just do this.
Well, it's actually more work because if you don't know anything about it, you got to research that.
And I do know a little bit because I like that whole giants thing. So I've done research on this before, and then, of course, it was commented on. I thought, well, this is great. I already know a little bit, so I'll do some more. So...
Yeah, I never heard of it, so.
Oh, this is great. I love this. So in the Grand Canyon, what people might not know is there's a certain portion of the Grand Canyon that is not available to the public.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Very much true.
Like, just on the outside, it's not...
Like, you can't go there. You can't hike there. You can't mountain climb there. You can't raft there. Nothing. Matter of fact, I think it's either in this article or another one, they said there's even reports of people walking around with M16s.
So is there a fence around it, then?
I think it's just out in the middle of nowhere. And you don't really kind of...
Because I've seen another thing on this with the Grand Canyon about like gold and treasure from whoever.
Well, the Incas and Egyptians and all sorts of things.
Yeah, Egyptian treasure is supposed to be out there.
Yep.
And there's like a cave you can get to if you go down, like Spelunk.
Yep.
You can get to it, but last time the people tried, that's when like helicopters came in and everything and stopped them from going down there.
Yep, very true. Yep. Very true. So this guy, I'm going to go click over to this one here. This is the actual... front page of the Phoenix Gazette on April 5th, 1909. And it says, mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light.
This is it, yeah.
So what they say is remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. Now, this is all, you can read all this here. But this is interesting because this whole area that you're not able to go to, they're named after Egyptian and Oriental areas. So you have the Isis Temple, and there's a temple there. The Tower of Set, which is Egyptian. And that's what that is called. The Tower of Ra. And we all know Ra is the sun god.
Ra's a band.
That too.
And I don't know how to say this really well, but Zoroaster Temple. And again, here's the other one. These are all called temples, and this is what they were named. Now, they said they were named this way because the explorers went down there, and they just really liked the Hindu and the Egyptian, mythology and whatnot. So that's why they named them
So are
this
these
way.
off limits?
Apparently so, yes, from my research.
Okay.
Now this temple here, it's interesting. They view this area like as these little dimples as they might be caves.
Yep.
So I don't want to go too much into depth. So then we go to this article here, and what was interesting is, and because you all know that I practice Buddhism, not very well at times, but. So the guy that wrote that report, what he said was when they were canoeing down the river, they happened to see a cave, and they thought, well, let's go into this. So they walked into the cave, and when they noticed that it went pretty a good distance, I think he got like a torch in his gun, and they went down in there. And this is a complex. It wasn't just a cave as you would imagine going down there, like whatever it happened to be. This was an actual complex carved out of the stone itself. And in this complex, there was what looked like a monk or Buddha. He had a lotus flower, which is in Buddhism is very symbolic, and then maybe a pearl on the other end, which again is symbolic of Buddhism. So yeah, it's right here. It mentions the discovery of an enormous underground citadel. So this is a picture that kind of shows this cave here.
Yep.
So was there people waiting for him?
No, this is kind of what kickstarted this whole idea. This guy, he was traveling around, he's trying to map it or explore it and whatnot. The entrance was 1,400 feet down a sheer canyon wall, and it is located on government land, so no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. So what else was there?
He find anything pretty crazy inside?
Well, I heard the first guy that went down there found a lot, like Egyptian treasure, Chinese, Japanese, Hindus, all this stuff mixed together. And like the Incas and Mayans.
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff just mixed together. Like
it was
a world treasure.
It was really like quite literally world treasure. It wasn't just Orient. It was Orient, and then it was Muslim, and it was temples and this and that. This right here says the walls in the main chamber were adorned with copper weapons and tablets covered in hieroglyphic symbols, not dissimilar to the ones found in Egypt. The Egyptian link, mummified bodies. Now, here's where the giants come in. These mummified bodies were 7 to 9 foot tall. So, again, we have, this one, no measure less than 9 feet. They're wrapped in dark linen. Over 100 feet from the entrance across hall, 700 feet long. And that's where they found the idol or image of the people's god sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. Oh, it's little. And then, again, like Buddhism is all about the lotus flower. So it's, and of course, the cast of the face is Oriental. So you have Oriental, kind of like that. I mean, I'm sure this isn't the picture, but you'd have something like that. Pottery, instruments. Where else was it?
My question is why. So the government's leaving this shit down there. I'm surprised they didn't like fucking jail rob it.
Well, see, that's just it. When this was out, that's the last time anyone was actually allowed to go back there. The government
like the guy
swooped
went
in.
to the local newspaper or something, and they wrote a piece about it, and then
big mistake.
Government came in.
Yeah.
So right here at the end here, whoops, it says the entire area is named after Egyptians and Hindus. The Grand Canyon is forbidden zone. No one is allowed in this large area. Our research could only conclude that this was the area where the vaults were located. Today, this area is still curiously off limits to hikers and even in large part to the park personnel. Conspiracy theorist John Rhodes once said he knew exact location of the entrance to the city, but that was guarded 24/7 by soldiers carrying M16 rifles. Another idea, this is interesting, floating around the internet, says that the underground city now serves as a museum for the shadowy ruling class. So
like
you
New
have
World Order.
Yeah. Now this is interesting because it's over in the west coast, the west of America, where giants were found in Indian burial grounds. So and this is some of the more research I've done. So these people were digging up Indian burial grounds, found 9-foot skeletons again, and they even found skeletons that had antlers growing out of them, which I've looked at. There's actually people with antlers that grow out of their head. And so they took all this to the Smithsonian, just like the giants here in the States. Yeah, right here in Wisconsin that was found. They go to the Smithsonian. Smithsonian's like, cool, we'll check it out. Instantly, there's a law passed that says you are not able, even Indians are not able to dig into Indian burial grounds. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, this guy's in 1909. He's like, I just found this. I mean, it proves that someone was already around the world. They collected all these things, or they had influences from these things, came here, set up shop, and instantly it's all off limits. I mean, this is in our backyard. This is the Grand Canyon.
He says they found giants in Indian burial grounds, but how big were those? When they say giant, how big is giant?
Giants, normally when you read it and you do the research, mostly they're about 9 to 12 foot tall. I mean, sometimes you hear a lot of things. People will say like 20 feet tall, 36 feet tall. So they get larger and larger. But most times you're looking at like between, I would say even some of them have been only like 7 foot, which if you know anything about human ecology, we keep on getting taller, and now we're getting fatter. But anyway, so the average height for a human, I think in the like 1830s or something, was only like 5'5", 5'6", because of malnutrition. They didn't have a lot of food, so they didn't grow very tall. Now we have all the food that we can have, so we grow taller. Well, because of the fat food, of course, we're getting taller, and obesity is now kicking in where we're getting fatter. I don't want to.
And
with evolution down again, wouldn't it?
I'm 5'10" and I'm 300 pounds, so I don't know.
I bet with all the gaming, we're gonna get another thumb or something going on here.
Ooh, that'd be all right.
handy.
Ding, ding, ding.
So
So I mean, this giant thing isn't just in the Grand Canyon, but I'm really happy that someone brought this up because I like it when it's here in the States.
Oh yeah.
It kind of it's just like you hear a lot of things overseas or in Australia. I've done some research.
Well, if you like stuff about in America, there's a great show you should watch. It's actually on the History Channel. It's America Unearthed. Great show. The guy's a forensic geologist, And he goes around all these sites, and he's trying to prove that people were here before Columbus and all this. And
which everyone should know by now anyway.
Right, and he has a whole bunch of sites that he goes to. That's where I got my article from, actually, was from watching this show.
Yeah.
It's really good, because, he can look at a rock, be like, no, that's fake. He'll say it, too, if he thinks it's fake. Because he looks at them, he's, like forensics, like a crime scene. He looks at it, he studies rocks, and he can tell how old they are by the weathering, what material is on it. Like, oh, this rock has this type of crap growing in it, so it's just this old.
Yeah, and I've seen some of that stuff where they're like, oh, the lichen that's been growing on this rock means that it has to be over 100 years old or something. So yeah, it's very interesting.
It's really hard to disprove rocks, because it's like,
very true.
You can look at it and be like, oh, this old.
And there's another show called In Search of Giants on history.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched any of that yet, and I'm passionate.
Does this have anything to do with the Central America? I heard there's still giants in Central America alive.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one, but I could imagine like the Amazon. There's places we haven't seen yet.
Right. Yeah. I think that's where they were.
Yeah, there's still islands that have that island has all cannibal tribe. You can't even get off the damn boat because everyone's been shot or stabbed by arrows and whatnot.
Oh no shit, huh? Yep. Just like Lost or whatever.
Yeah, right.
The other interesting thing is over near the Grand Canyon, Utah, Arizona, these places. Not only do they have the Grand Canyon and this, but there's also the Indian tribe over there, and I can't remember the exact tribe's name, but they have their history is passed down through story, and they have a story of fighting these red-haired, it's like 9-foot tall giants that were cannibalistic. And the way that they feeded them, because they would raid the Indians and they'd take people and they would eat them apparently, is these giants lived in this cave. And what they did was they gathered all this firewood, they threw it in the mouth of the cave, and they lit fire to it, and then they did a semicircle and waited for them to come out and kill them. Well, apparently they all asphyxiated. The smoke went down there, whatnot, and they killed them that way. But there's a story about that, and if you start doing this research, and when you start getting as deep as we are into this rabbit hole, you start realizing that when people find something to be so important that they have to pass that down, it's usually not a fairy tale. I mean, we consider it one, but there's always that little bit of truth. There's a reason why that started.
And those damn leprechauns and stuff.
Yeah, and then see, like leprechauns and those things were started because of the unexplainable. And leprechauns are actually really evil, and so were like cherubims and things like that. But we changed that to like conform to the modern day ideology of what we want it to be. But there's something that you can't explain. That's when you come up with something to explain it. So that way you might have these fairy tales. Like I lose all my shit. So these little borrowers or all these, they would take the stuff like a sock. I have a sock monster in my damn dryer.
I've heard about that one before.
Yeah, seriously, in 100 years, that's going to be a story. Watch, know. But you have these things, but most of them they're have a little grain of truth in them, or sometimes a bigger grain of truth. So. The Giants, I mean, I would love, because I know we all keep on planning this trip, and I don't know if we'll do it this year, next year, whenever that place starts up, but we're going to go down there. It would be really interesting to find where this public land stops and this other one starts, and maybe get some ghillie suits. And
I'd be down.
Record the whole thing, GoPro it, and see when we get arrested. But
we could Periscope it, live broadcast.
There's probably no cell service.
We'll have to buy one of those boosters or something.
We'll get like a satellite.
Oh, Saturday.
Internet, and they have an adapter on it, so you can do it. There we go.
I mean,
360 camera.
And it's not that far fetched. I mean, consider the Bohemian Grove. I mean,
fuck yeah,
that's right in the middle of like a town, and yet completely off limits. They've tried to get their security up the wazoo.
Oh yeah.
You have secret societies left and right.
But then we saw the inside pictures, and it's like, well, it's really nothing to. I mean, yeah, there's skeletons being burned on the thing, but it's you can find that in any person's yard. Really.
And the Bohemian Grove isn't about like archaeology, that type of thing. What it is what the elites are doing there. That's the big thing there. But it's like this would
getting
disprove
fucked in the ass.
Yeah. This would disprove that and I think almost everyone understands that the Vikings were here long before Christopher Columbus. I mean, we have ruined tablets in Minnesota. I mean, we have Oklahoma has some kind of a Viking deal down there.
Yep.
So we know it. But our history books teach us one way, and that's that indoctrination. This is what we're going to tell you. This is what
who writes history, the victor, right?
Yeah, and if you don't understand something, and that's the other thing about history is we think it's one way because that's how it's passed down through these stories and retellings. But then once we go out there, we start digging it up. Then we find out, well, it's wrong. Well, to disprove something that you have been taught since you were wee big, that's kind of hard to do. A lot of people are going to be like, no.
World shattering.
Especially if I spent 40 years of my life studying Christopher Columbus and how he discovered America.
You spent that much time?
No, but if I did, or I had a PhD.
I was like, I didn't look into that loser that long.
or if I had a PhD in these types of things, and you came to me and said, well, this disproves it, I am going to fight tooth and nail to tell you you're out of your mind, because I just wasted 40 years and a PhD telling you me one thing to have you disprove it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I thought that was excellent. I really had a lot of fun researching it. I would love to find out these secret areas around the United States.
I just don't get why they can't tell us about it.
What
is the big deal if there was other people here from around the world first? I don't see the big deal.
The only, I don't understand it myself. I swear that the government thinks that, because most everybody is a sheep in the first place, that they'll flip the fuck out and, cause mayhem. Or maybe it might destroy religion. It could destroy science. And, and if you look at our society, we believe so hard in something. I mean, if you're a diehard Republican, then no Democrat will ever be right. If you're a diehard Baptist, then no, Jew is ever going to be right. And so on and so forth. And it is. We want to feel part of something. That's what we are. We always gather. There's very little people that want to be on their own and don't want to believe in anything. We want to believe in something. We want to gather and we want to be part of the group. It's just psychology. Well, we believe in something so much that I can see where they'd be like, well, we tell people there's aliens. There's going to be a mass amount of people that are going to be just, very unhappy. And what do we know what they're going to do? And people in mass are stupid. It just takes a little bit. I can see where they're going, but I think there's enough open-mindedness. I would hope. I mean, I hope more people think the way we do than the other way. That if someone were to say, there's aliens, or there's these caves and whatnot, it wouldn't be this mass panic or whatnot.
What's the panic about caves? There's caves with treasure.
It's just like, my
last
episode,
people probably going in there and fucking looting the hell out of it, I suppose.
Well, they got guys with M16s. I mean, come on now, you're all right. But it's just like
if they got M16s, they found something that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is there is some kind of like an energy source or knowledge that they don't want you to have.
Maybe a Stargate or something, huh?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
Would you run through it? There was a Stargate.
I'd throw a ball through it first and then.
A ball with a string. I want a ball with a string. Just hang on.
I'll just tie a string around you and you can go through. Like in Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Write a note. I'll write a note. If you see this note, throw it back through the portal, please. Just wait.
Maybe they believe that it'll cause hectic and panic, but I really don't foresee it myself.
No. We're very open these days, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
I would think so.
At least the younger generations.
Yeah, we're not so stupid as the older generation.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Actually, the younger generation is more stupid nowadays.
Well,
depends on which way you look at it, I guess,
Like, they do a lot of stupid shit, I'm not going to lie, yes. But we're not as ignorant into believing just one way nowadays, I'd say. Kids these days are more open.
But I've ran into people.
There's some, yes.
Like a guy I worked with in lacrosse was like, "Oh, the Democrats are going to win, and we're finally going to take." It was so awkward because he talked about being Democrat like it was, I don't know, like being a Nazi or something. It's like, we're going to take over and we're going to win and we're going to show everybody and like we're going to make change. And it's like, it's not
how the process works.
Look what happened.
Right?
Nothing.
It's a bipartisan process for a reason. And that's the whole, I get in the government will go on for days. But I don't know. Like, why would you hide it? I don't know. I think it's just because it would go against whatever we believe in and that could be an issue. So, but yeah, great subject. I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot more fun researching this than last week's episode. I can tell you that much. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed, talking most of it. 20 minutes of talking. We got to get a drink.
You're used to it.
I am. So thank you all very much. I hope you all keep the comments coming. Love doing the research for you guys and the interaction. Hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. Or no, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Stay tuned.
In like maybe a couple of years, I was thinking, I've said this idea with you before that we should film a movie. Take a year, write a script, and then we can do the clip thing. And
I just
We're
want to
doing horror, comedy,
sci-fi
action,
horror
sci-fi.
comedy.
porn.
Porn? Oh, okay.
This doesn't work
It's
out.
a bunch
we
of dudes.
We got the set for porn. We just go to lacrosse.
Right.
We do.
We could just get those
Girls
sex
Gone
dolls and
Wild.
change them out. We can
Right?
change the hair out. We got a new woman.
I found a
That kind
really
of porn.
cool sex
I'm sure
doll.
we'll find a niche for that. Someone somewhere is going to love it.
Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we talk about giants in the Grand Canyon and what it really means that the government is hiding the shit from us. And they're a bunch of cocksuckers.
Well, if you like stuff about In America, there's a great show you should watch. It's God, Dusty.
You're cutting
fired.
You're cutting into your time.
I know. I'm so sorry.